Top 10 Most Hated African Presidents of All Time. Hello Displorers, welcome to another informative video presented to you by Displorer, and thanks for watching. In this video, we shall be presenting the top 10 most hated African presidents of all time. The most hated African presidents may not necessarily be those who served the longest terms in office, as some of them have received widespread criticisms right from their first mandate. In a general perspective, African presidents who unduly prolong their office terms, gain power by executing their political rivals, and misappropriate the country's resources are the most hated African presidents. One thing is factual: Africans will always despise those who they deem unfit and immoral as their leaders. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. The presidents on this list did some good things for their countries, but on the grand scale of things, their rule was mostly characterized by executions, tyranny, undemocratic and mismanagement, which made a lot of Africans and the internal community have strong negative feelings for them. So in no particular order, here are the most hated presidents in Africa of all time. Number 10. Robert Mugabe, former president of Zimbabwe. Robert Gabriel Mugabe was a Zimbabwean revolutionary leader and politician who served as Prime Minister of Zimbabwe from 1980 to 1987 and then as President from 1987 to 2017. In his early political years as President, he was loved by the people and internationally acclaimed, but he soon became eager to remain in power, such that he was resorting to controversial ways of maintaining his time in office. Over the course of the 1990s, Zimbabwe's economy steadily deteriorated. By 2000, living standards had declined, life expectancy reduced, and average wages were lower, and unemployment had increased. As of 2009, 3 to 4 million Zimbabweans, the greater part of the nation's skilled workforce, had left the country in search for greener pastures. Mugabe was regarded in the later part of his reign as one of the world's most controversial political leaders. At the same time, he continued to be regarded as a hero in many third world countries and received a warm reception when traveling throughout Africa. He died at the age of 95 at the Gleneagles Hospital in Singapore. Number 9. Mobutu Sese Seko, former president of Zaire. Mobutu Sese Seko was a Congolese politician and military officer who became president of Zaire in 1965 and remained in office for 32 years. His government was directly involved in plotting the execution of Lumumba in 1961 and leading the army into a second coup in 1965, which handed him the presidency on a platter of gold. During his rule, he amassed a large personal fortune through economic exploitation and corruption. Mobutu died on 7 December 1997 in Morocco of prostate cancer. It is alleged that he had embezzled between $4 billion and $15 billion during his rule. Number 8. Sékou Touré, former president of Guinea. Ahmed Sékou Touré was a Guinean political leader and African statesman who became the first president of Guinea, serving from 1958 until his death in 1984. Touré was among the primary Guinean nationalists involved in gaining independence of the country from France. When Guinea had gained independence from France in 1960, Sékou Touré declared his Democratic Party of Guinea to be the only legal party in the state and ruled from then on for 26 years as a virtual dictator. Sékou Touré had once made a controversial statement that Guinea prefers poverty and freedom to riches and slavery. His approach towards his opponents caused charges to be brought from Amnesty International as well as other human rights organizations, accusing his rule to be too oppressive. On March 26, 1984, Sékou Touré died of heart attack in a US Ohio state clinic. Number 7. Teodoro Mbasogo, President of Equatorial Guinea. Teodoro Mbasogo is the second and current president of Equatorial Guinea since August 1979. Once you hear of a leader ousting his uncle and seizing power to become president, you immediately think of tyranny and dictatorship. Obiang overthrew his uncle on 3 August 1979 in a bloody coup d'etat and placed him on trial for his actions, including the genocide of Bubi people over the previous decade. Marcius was sentenced to death and executed by firing squad on 29 December 1979. And immediately, Teodoro took over as president. He has since been accused of widespread corruption and human rights abuses. Today, Equatorial Guinea is essentially a one-party state dominated by Obiang's Democratic Party of Equatorial Guinea, with the constitution granting him sweeping powers, including the power to rule by decree. Number 6. Mengistu Mariam, former president of Ethiopia. Mengistu Haile Mariam is an Ethiopian soldier and politician who was the president of Ethiopia from 1977 to 1991, as well as General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Ethiopia from 1984 to 1991. He was the chairman of the Derg, the socialist military junta that governs Ethiopia from 1977 to 87, and the president of the People's Democratic Republic of Ethiopia from 1987 to 91. Mengistu proceeded to eliminate rivals for power from the Derg and established himself as Ethiopia's dictator, attempting to modernize Ethiopia's feudal economy through policies of nationalization and land redistribution. He was so extreme in his rule that his bloody consolidation of power in 1977 to 78 was often referred to as the Ethiopian Red Terror. He was sentenced to death in absentia by Ethiopia's High Court, though he still lives in Zimbabwe. Number 5. Sani Abacha, former president of Nigeria. Former Major General Sani Abacha was a Nigerian military general who served as the military head of state of Nigeria from 1993 until his death in 1998. He was also Chief of Army Staff between 1985 to 1990, Chief of Defense Staff between 1990 to 93, and Minister of Defense. In 1993, Abacha became the first Nigerian army officer to attain the rank of a full military general without skipping a single rank. Sani's unprecedented economic achievements coincided with the rapid expansion of corruption. Nigerians were crossed over Abacha's rule, as he was a very violent leader who did not tolerate opposition. On 8 June 1998, Abacha died in the Aso Rock presidential villa in Abuja of sudden heart attack, based on government reports. Number 4. Muammar Gaddafi, former president of Libya. Muammar Muhammad Abu Minya al-Gaddafi, commonly known as Colonel Gaddafi, was a controversial Libyan revolutionary, politician, and political theorist. He was notoriously hated by the West. Gaddafi governed Libya as the revolutionary chairman of the Libyan Arab Republic from 1969 to 77, and then as the brotherly leader of the Great Socialist People's Libyan Arab Jamahiriya from 1977 to 2011. Once he had seized power, Gaddafi converted Libya into a republic governed by his Revolutionary Command Council. Gaddafi was famous for sponsoring insurgent groups. Nonetheless, Gaddafi notably transformed Libya into a new socialist state, alleviating Libyans from poverty and using the country's huge oil resources to boost the economy. On 20th October 2011, Gaddafi was captured and executed during the Battle of Sirte in a hideout in Libya. Number 3. Charles Taylor, former president of Liberia. Charles MacArthur Ganky Taylor is a former Liberian politician and convicted war criminal who served as the 22nd president of Liberia from 2nd August 1997 until his resignation on 11 August 2003. Taylor was a very learned man and fluent speaker. He completed his studies in the US and returned to Liberia to serve in the government of Samuel Doe. Taylor ignited the First Liberian Civil War from 1989 to 1996 in an attempt to overthrow Samuel Doe. After Doe's defeat, Taylor gained control of Liberia, becoming a feared warlord. Taylor soon got elected president in the 1997 general election, following a peace accord. However, in 2003, due to internal pressure and charges against him by the Supreme Court for masterminding the First Civil War, he resigned and went into exile in Nigeria. Number 2. Idi Amin, former president of Uganda. Idi Amin Dada was a Ugandan military officer who served as the president of Uganda from 1971 to 1979. Commonly known as the Butcher of Uganda, he is considered one of the most brutal leaders in world history. The UK broke diplomatic relations with Uganda in 1977 due to Amin's controversial approach to diplomacy, and Amin declared that he had defeated the British and added CBE to his title for Conqueror of the British Empire. In the later part of his reign, Idi Amin attempted to annex Tanzania's Kagera region in 1978, but rather had Kampala captured on April 11, 1979 by the forces of Julius Nyerere. Amin died in exile on 16 August 2003 in Saudi Arabia. Number 1. Omar al-Bashir, former president of Sudan. Omar Hassan Ahmad al-Bashir is a Sudanese former military officer, politician, and war criminal who served as the 7th head of state of Sudan under various titles from 1989 to 2019, when he was deposed in a coup d'etat. In 1992, al-Bashir founded the National Congress Party and made sure it stayed the dominant political party in the country until 2019. In March 2009, al-Bashir became the first sitting head of state to be indicted by the International Criminal Court (ICC) for allegedly directing a campaign of mass killing, rape, and piling against civilians in Darfur. The court issued an arrest warrant for al-Bashir on 4th March 2009 on counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity, but ruled that there were insufficient evidence to prosecute him for genocide. On 11th April 2019, Bashir was ousted in a military coup d'etat. There you have it, explorers. Those were the top 10 most hated African presidents. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to like the video, give us a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and also share the video with your friends.